Hello, my name is Alan, and today I'm facilitating the final of 4 sessions of Against the Dark Conspiracy. This is my own game of supernatural espionage against a shadowy, in this case, vampire conspiracy. I'm scaffolding these sessions with various bits of published material for Night's Black Agents by Ken Hite and Gareth Ryder Hanrahan. Go out and buy them because they're fabulous things. We are moving on from where we left last session. So I'm not going to give an enormous amount of that. I will simply say that my pronouns are he, him. This session was organized as part of the Gauntlet online role-playing community's monthly calendar. If you don't know about the Gauntlet, please search Gauntlet-RPG and come find out about us and come play with us. We've just come out of a successful open gaming weekend where we encourage people who haven't played with us or haven't played online to come and do so. And that went very well from my point of view. I had a couple of great games. That is where we are. That's me. I am going to roll. We are playing with safety tools. I played with all these players before. If you want to know more about the safety tools we use, please refer to an earlier session. But the X card is on the table. We have lines and veils in play. We're playing with an open door, and we're also sitting under the comforting umbrella of the Gauntlet community's code of conduct. So with all that in mind, I want to get straight to the players and their characters. For a change, I shall go right to left on the character keeper. So Lowell, yeah, I know, look surprised at my initiative and just rashness. So Lowell, say hello, tell us about your pronouns and introduce us to Eun-Jung.
My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and I'm running Eun-Jung, who is a character from a short game a while back in a slightly different system. She is Korean American and has worked for the NSA, and she is more cleaner than anything these days, taking care of situations, and she is trying to come down off of the chaos of our last mission. And I've been very carefully thinking through that, not enthused about going to the Soviet Union or Russia or wherever it is. We're going to get them all mixed up every time now for me. So
yes, it is the challenge because we are dealing with the hangover of some dodgy Soviet research in modern day Russia. So we are going to be bouncing back and forth between those two terms. So forgive us, thousands of viewers, please forgive us. Eun-Jung dropped a helicopter on a conspiracy desert compound last time just to get the ball rolling. And then they lost all their equipment and kind of worked very successfully, I thought, on found items. Okay, moving along. Pavel, say hello, tell us about your pronouns and introduce us to Vlad Rostov.
Hello, good evening. I'm Pavel. I'm playing Vlad Rostov, who is ex-GRU. He betrayed his mother organization. He was a signal analyst. He was working for the conspiracy, but then decided that he was actually betrayed. They wanted to take him out because he learned too much. Maybe we will dig up why and how it all happened. But most importantly, there is a video circulating somewhere in the web, in the dark web, which will show Vlad approaching some weird ghostly thing with a bunch of electricity cable and electrocuting the hell out of it. And I'm sure it will be then posted on YouTube, and people will be saying, "No, it's fake. No, it's true. No, it's fake," and it will be all good. Because last time he took out a desert djinn with electricity.
So he did. Just to reassure you all, the audience saw the direct stream the conspiracy had set up in that space. But after I think Lena put some 30 mil rounds through the concrete wall, the camera fell over. So everything they've seen from that point is from ankle height. So, I think your identities are as safe as they might be. Paul, say hello, tell us about your pronouns and introduce us to Lena Karpi.
Hello, I'm Paul, he, him, and the character I'm playing this series is Lena Karpi, she, her, and Lena is a ex-Finnish police detective with a conscription background in the Finnish military, and she is hunting for her missing husband. That's what drives her. She hasn't found anything, but the conspiracy is a big organization. She hopes to eventually get there. Lena was part of the two-man killing machine in the last episode. So that's her.
Yeah, if you couldn't shoot it with 30 mils, you ran it over with that armored personnel carrier. And finally, Will, say hello, introduce us to yourself, give us your pronouns, and tell us something about Jimmy Rook.
Hi, my name is Will, pronouns he, him, as are those of my character, Jimmy Rook, a British ex-squaddy turned thief turned undeniable MI6 asset turned vampire killer extraordinaire, or at least in his own mind. I mean, he's only killed I think 6, 7 supernatural things at this point, saved the world, so I've had a lot of help, obviously. But last session, really it was what it was all about, because he got to see some revenge take place. The conspiracy's taken rather a lot from Jimmy, and beep Brett Bankson soon came to a swift end, and he was the one who got us all stuck in this in the first place. Henry, my old comrade, will be happy to hear that, I'm sure.
Yeah, let's hope he wasn't still working for MI6, but yeah.
Oh, either way, Jimmy's happy about it.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's fair to say that we are playing a kind of continuity out of 13, I think, sessions that Lowell ran of a Knights Black Agents Express. So we have quite a long history in terms of the conspiracy, though. So all these players are in that, but not all these characters. So the leads lead to Moscow. And the issue I think that I need to get out the way quickly, or first, is that Eun-Jung, you are going to be on an FSB watch list because of your US intelligence background. I'm not sure they're going to be worried about a former Finnish policewoman, but I think they are going to be worried about a former NSA assassin. So Eun-Jung, how are you going to minimize that kind of risk?
I think that's the point at which I have to go and spend the time and energy and contact to get somebody to do a good legend and a good passport coming out of South Korea proper, with a history of a layover flight in Europe, essentially as a South Korean TV location scout kind of thing.
Well, that makes perfect sense to me. So the way this works is that all you have to do is to mark stress, to call on a contact. Now I think we have a forger in the network somewhere, but you're very welcome to call on a forger of your own.
Whose forger is it?
I think Vlad, called John Stone, bracket, clearly a false name.
Yeah, I think I'm willing to call on him.
Yeah. Well, then simply mark that stress and
and then we're going to do some downtime so I can spend all my stuff to clear all this out before I get murdered.
I just thought I'd be clear that you were going to need something, because you have a little bit of a profile in Lubyanka Square. So marked stress. You have that cover identity. It's as solid as can be in the sense that it will give you temporary access to the disguise expertise if you need to use it, and I'm sure it will go perfectly well.
I also have digital intrusion, so if we can get on the ground, I can also do some work to back that up.
Cover yourself to an extent. Okay, Vlad, you're the other obvious at-risk person, because technically you're on the run from Russian military intelligence, the GRU. So what are your thoughts about going back to the motherland?
Well, the thoughts are very warm, because Vlad probably spent a lot of time in Moscow and in Moscow district. That's probably where the GRU Academy and is mostly. So I think Vlad knows that getting through the border is really tough. So he doesn't. So he won't even bother with it. He will call. Do we have a smuggler? No, we don't.
I think we do. Oh, sorry, we don't currently have one, but I think there's one in the list. Yeah. They get people and things, a smuggler. They get people and things across borders.
Yes. So I think I'm gonna call them Eugene. I'm just thinking, what is the most probable direction for this smuggling operation?
I mean, it's worth checking, I think, whether Lena is going to go in, on a tourist visa, or whether you both want to go in from Finland. I'm just curious.
Yeah, there's easy fit. There's a land border there, so St. Petersburg is very close.
So there's that option. The alternative is that, given that we finished last time in the desert of the United Arab Emirates, you could make your way cross country through the Middle East and up through Turkey, and maybe across the Black Sea.
Yeah, I'm more thinking about the means than actual
I see. Sorry.
details, because I totally see being smuggled in, like, partially in the body bag, partially in some like, not bag but some crate, and then yeah, I know I'm going from Finland to St. Petersburg on a ship, because there's a harbor in St. Petersburg. There's a big commercial harbor, so there must be some, like, fishers, and we probably see the scene as a crate is being carried from one boat to another boat somewhere on the waters between Helsinki, Tallinn, and St. Petersburg, and then the same boat docks at St. Petersburg, and then as the crew leaves, the box opens and Vlad steps out. Man, I stink. Oh my God, I need to, like, wash up.
And then bus or train St. Petersburg to Moscow.
Yeah, because the internal security is as far weaker, and yeah, so probably avoid bus, and probably, like, basically like hitchhike to Moscow, because then he's, like, completely unregistered, doesn't have to buy the ticket and stuff like that. So
okay, that works for me. What about you, Lena? Is it a tourist visa straight into Moscow, or?
I think a tourist visa, St. Petersburg. Check on Vlad. We'll work out a route that he's going to hitchhike, and then maybe the next time I see him, he's sort of outside Moscow train station, maybe dressed as a hobo, and I step off the train, and he's there outside the train station, any change, and it's like, let's go, and he's probably done, because Moscow, you've got the car, so it's just a disguise for you, Vlad, the hobo look. I'm going the smart glasses, the car, we're ready.
Yeah.
And there was I thinking you were going to fly into St. Petersburg and then offer him a lift as he hitchhikes to Moscow. But no, that works for me. What about Jimmy? How's Jimmy getting in?
Jimmy is going as his old cover. What did I name him? Irvin Walsh, who is a businessman from Britain who also has citizenship of St. Kitts and St. Nevis, which doesn't require a visa to enter Russia. It has a 90-day to 180 days. So therefore, paperwork is fairly minimal. You just flash the St. Kitts passport, you go in, and you've paid the extra cash for the.
So are you? And I appreciate that back in the day you had that identity, but of course that was back in the day. So are you going to refresh that by spending stress and calling on one of our forger friends?
Yeah, why not? You know what? I will in fact call upon. Does it have to be a forger? Can I say it's somebody else?
Well, if you've got a better option, a forger's the obvious one.
Yeah, forger is the obvious one, isn't it?
Maybe the hacker too.
Yeah, I was going to say chapstick.
Oh yeah, no, I see what you mean. Yeah, that works.
It just fakes up the the legend, basically, like does it all
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of like retrospectively.
That brings chapstick, formally into the game. Can I just say, Pavel, that camera is amazing. You seem to get really small really quickly as you walked away from us then. I thought you'd done something exotic with the video.
Nope.
Okay, so we've got a weigh-in. You're all going in separately and rendezvous in Moscow. I think I am on this occasion interested in the details of your safe house in Moscow. So I'm going to get rid of the details of our safe house in Dubai. There we go. Who wants to spend some intel to set up a Moscow safe house?
Vlad.
Sure, I have.
Vlad does seem to be sitting on a lot of intel, doesn't he?
Yeah, I was looking for a way to spend it. So
well, there you go, a safe house in Moscow.
Up, I will just do it gladly.
Now, and therefore it seems only fair, Vlad, that you should get to choose where it is. So they're always down at heel. They're never luxurious. But what's this place like?
I'm going to pass this to someone else because I'm drawing blank. I will try to think of something else on one of the other options.
That's fine. Anyone want to step up?
Go ahead.
Well,
I was going to say there's that bit at the end of the second Bourne movie where he goes to see the young woman at those like apartment block kind of things, and everything kind of looks very much the same, and it's it's not great, but it is. There are people around. I think we're on like one of the like end houses of one of those places.
So is this? I just typed Soviet era apartment block.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm seeing the building behind you.
I don't know what that. Actually, that's like a fire at a Bucharest hospital that I used before.
I mean, it works for me as low-rise Soviet era apartments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Brutalist.
Yeah, indeed. Then let me go to Lena. Who's vulnerable nearby? If anybody hits this place, who's at risk?
I think there's a nursery on the ground floor.
Oh, now, the only thing I will say is we have a line on peril to pregnant women and infants and harm to children. So if you put that down there, I won't be able to hit it.
Okay, no, let's go for an old folks nursing home.
I'm very happy to blow up old people.
If you can't attack one end of the scale, hit the other. Yeah.
No one ever puts old people on those lines and veils, I've noticed. Just thinking.
And we're all getting closer to it.
Well, tell me about it, kid. So by all means, there's an old people's centre or an old people's home on the ground floor, because then you don't have to go upstairs. What single thing, Jimmy, reassures you most that this is actually a safe house?
That a lot of the other floors are like quite partially inhabited. This is almost this is a slum essentially. So like it's off the radar. People don't go there. You know what I mean? Lots of derelict apartments and things.
So if I write only partially occupied, in commas, slum, yeah?
Yeah.
So very low class, lots of vacant apartments. That works for me.
Yeah, that's why they have the old people's home here. It's because it's cheap, right? They just do the whole bottom floor for no problem.
Fine. Pavel, I'm going to come back round to Vlad, but feel free to offer it to the table. But why isn't this place ideal? What's the problem with this as a safe house?
The problem is that the safe house used to be GRU, but it was compromised at some point, so they stopped using it. And some local criminals started using it, and that's from whom Vlad got the key. But there isn't any guarantee that there are no other keys somewhere, and that someone will not come at some point and say, "Hey, I'm here to crash and sleep tonight." So
Okay, I've written down used to be GRU, so not used but known.
Mhm.
And Vlad got keys from the local mafia.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, okay. I won't ask you to define the gear benefit at this point. We'll see where the story takes us, and the first person to declare something that might give us a hint of that. So I'm seeing you in the safe house. You've managed to get your act together. I guess, Eun-Jung, you've probably booked a hotel room somewhere, so you've got this part of your cover. But you've got tradecraft. You can find your way to the safe house, or do you meet somewhere else? Eun-Jung, what do you think? Do you meet at the safe house, or do you find some other neutral public location? Maybe, I don't know.
That's a good point. I actually think we probably meet at a neutral location. Just so we have one person out of the loop. I'm probably the most risky in some ways, just because of ethnicity and so on, being spotted there. So, we meet at essentially whatever passes for a downscale Starbucks knockoff run by locals.
Strobuski is always a good cup of coffee in Moscow, so that's where I think we see you having this conversation about what happens next. Now, while Against the Dark Conspiracy typically has a very kind of structured collect intel, do some prep, do the op, I think because this is a pretty diffuse potential tracking down, so I'm very, very happy for this to be a little bit looser if necessary, just so you know that you're not necessarily focused on we have to get to that point there on the map. I think it's only fair that I do give a run round and see if anybody like Eun-Jung and Vlad, to start with, are interested in seeking any relief from the horror. And I'm very happy for that to be a flashback or something on the way to Astrobuski.
I would like to, if that's okay.
Okay.
I would like to, and I can do something else if need be. I would like to seek the advice of a mentor, confidant, or somebody else I trust. And I think I'd like to have a scene with Heinrich.
Your old mate Heinrich.
My old mate Heinrich, yeah.
En route to Moscow? Stop off in Frankfurt or somewhere?
Yeah, entirely, yeah. Because I think I came back to Europe to then travel into Russia that way,
Makes more logic for the cover, I think, yeah.
Yeah. And I think we're meeting at, we meet at Tech Noir, the Berlin nightclub that I told Kasha about as a tip-off for the, get away from the vampire. And we're, and I'm wondering if I could double up and seek solace in say something new about my anchor in the same conversation and roll both dice at once,
Well, you'll roll each dice once.
Separately, you know what I mean? Yeah. But not need to do two scenes.
I don't mind you rolling them together. No. So Heinrich, and Heinrich's reaction when he gets a call from you that suggests you meet in a nightclub is that you want something. Because with the best will in the world, Jimmy, you never get in touch with me unless you want something.
Yeah, but sometimes it's I want to save your life. So, I mean...
Yeah, and that's usually the excuse you give me before you drop me in deeper shit.
And pull you out of it, pal. I mean, what am I for?
Okay. So, So what can I do for you this time then?
I hand him a USB stick. I say, look, been doing more digging. Under the cover, been working for, and I just hold up my hands and I make 6 with my fingers. But all at arm's length again, right? That bird I used to run with, Henry. Do you remember her? She's gone back to the firm. But, can't get her hands dirty while we tidy things up. What you and me were trying to do.
Well, look, that makes life very difficult for me, Jimmy, because, I'm kind of a proper freelancer.
I get it, Heinrich. You're a proper freelancer. Yeah. But you do, I remember when we crossed paths in Paris, remember? You were working for a certain somebody who nearly got you all wrapped up in this and then sent you onto a boat where some muggins came along and saved you from a pack of, it rings a bell.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, what I'm saying is, we're working for her, but I don't know how much she can be trusted. Six can be trusted with all that. But I need someone that I know. When he looks me in the eye and says that if I don't come back, they're going to hand that over to her and ask her to do the right thing. Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah.
Leave it with me. It'll be safe with me. But,
Yeah.
you know, and at this point, I think we need you to reduce your stress by 1, if you haven't already, and roll a d6 to see where this conversation is going.
That's a 6.
Oh, look at that, a 6. 4 plus mark heat and agree with control. How they or what they say to you complicates the operation. You cannot go back to them for support until you demonstrate that their faith in you is justified by fulfilling some task or requirement that control describes when they ask of you. I'm very happy for you to define that.
I mean, I think it's coming back to him, basically, and taking it. I'm not leaving him part of this patsy anymore, because it's not really I'm seeking consolation so much as just like a mate, you know, to hold on to my last like testament. And, you know, this is the bit where I say that but, you know, and this, I hand him a letter. That's for Daria. All you have to tell her is I'm sorry.
I don't think coming back to him is enough.
Okay.
I think that he looks you in the eye and he says, look, Jimmy, this Daria woman that you've been talking about more, you've got a chance there. So don't take any undue risks, okay? Just be a bit careful.
They're the ones who killed her, though, Heinrich.
Look, Jimmy, there comes a point, okay? You've got to think about the future, not the past, mate.
Yeah, just this last one. Just this last one.
Don't do anything rash. Okay?
And I guess what I revealed there about
Trust me, if you do something rash and you don't come back, I might just destroy this. And he holds up the stick.
Nah, you wouldn't. You know how much you get paid for it.
So, you know, you can't go back to him.
And continue my... Yeah, I get it. Yeah, okay. I think that's entirely fitting, yeah.
But 6, it was really worth it. Reduce by another 1.
Do I get a intel for doing a 6 or not?
Not on this one, alas.
Okay, cool. That's fine.
I'll increase heat by 1. How does any of this
complicate things?
Yeah.
I think it's the leaky boat of 6. And that Heinrich is a former 6 person, and you know, it's just a little sort of chatter that perhaps Heinrich met an old friend in a thing, but
looks for me.
Yeah.
Because that's interesting, because we've now reached capture.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, and the thing I think that I was revealing about my the solace in a relationship thing is that what happened the last time I saw them was not, you know, was saying that I'll be back, but I just have to finish one piece of business kind of thing.
Okay.
So I'll roll that one.
Stress by another one, and roll the other one, because it might come up 6 again. Who knows?
That's a 2.
Alas, not. So only 1 stress down, but Daria.
Taken.
Oh no, you can't make her taken. Only I can take her.
Okay, sorry, so I can't mark the anchor then.
No, you can't go back to her because she's missing. Sorry.
Cool. Then
I thought she was just targeted.
I will just spend an intel to lower her stress while I can.
Fine. Fine. Let's go round. Lena, what about you? Do you want to seek relief from the horror?
Yeah, I'd like a flashback scene to the previous day when I picked up Vlad, or Vlad really picked me up from the train station. So I would like a scene in a Moscow club with me and Vlad, if Vlad's interested.
I need to understand which one you're pitching at for this, because it could have a negative effect on Vlad, couldn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to go for get completely smashed.
Okay. Fine. So you're going to indulge your vice. Okay.
Finns love a drink.
Absolutely. And, you know, in Moscow, they have the second best vodka in the world.
They do. But the best thing is it is cheap as chips.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm just downing vodka like it goes out of fashion in this quite a reasonably trendy club.
I'm seeing flashing lights. I'm seeing, people, it's all happening. There's Lena. Hair is wild, relaxed again, that she doesn't have to pretend not to be from the Northern Hemisphere kind of thing, from Northern Europe. So go on then, roll a d6. Let's see how this goes. Reduce stress by 1, roll a d6.
I will. What I've found to do is actually get the dice roller on the screen. So let me just call that up, because that always helps roll with me.
It does.
Here we go. I've got it on the screen. Let's pull that off as a separate window. Okay, rolling that stress dice.
5. 4 plus mark heat and agree with control if you made a scene that attracted unwelcome attention, let something slip to the wrong person, overlooked something crucial, or stole something from another operator, i.e. Vlad, I guess, to pay for or cover up your behavior.
I'm not going to rob anything off Vlad, because he likes large guns and they take up a lot of space. So I think I'm going to mouth off massively in this club that we ran over a vampire with a tank. You wouldn't believe it. So I'm dead happy that we rolled over a vampire with a tank, and this is my driver. It was mega.
And so I've just filled the capture track. Vlad, do you want to seek relief from the horror, or have you got something else in mind?
I will interject that I'm more than happy to indulge the one before that, Vlad, if you wish to.
Behave badly.
Yes.
I mean,
I'm open to that. I'm not going to role play it, but I'm pretty comatose.
I was thinking about going to the NPC with this, but I think the situation was ripe for it. We were like, vodka was everywhere. We were celebrating our victory. And the other guys were not in the apartment yet, so we had it all for us.
Oh, right. Right. Before you do that, Vlad, when you're in the club, because I'm just about to use capture, so I'll unmark a capture, because you go to the club and you're followed into the toilets, Vlad, by 2 burly but young gentlemen, and you're no fool. You quickly become aware that one of them is watching the door and one of them is watching you, and then a woman comes in, and it's your old boss at the GRU, Ursula Andrakova. And Ursula says, "Hello, Vlad," or whatever name she knows you as, because we're kind of assuming that you have a perpetual couple identity.
I think she uses a different name, and we'll leave it as that. And I think Vlad just like spits into the, how do you call it? To the pissoir, zips up, turns around. I was wondering when you show up.
You can't believe that we're not sufficiently interested in you to be tracking CCTV with your image in, can you, Vlad? I mean, you ran from home, Vlad. And so I'm here to kind of offer you a way back from the cold.
You got my attention.
We know that you've been doing a variety of things for a variety of people since you left home, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I think of the GRU as your home, Vlad. You had a future there. And I suppose all I'm saying to you is that there's a blasted Finn out there that's not on our books. And I just want to find out, Vlad, why are you back in Moscow? Because maybe we could come to some arrangement.
It's an interesting question, because Vlad was kind of like a traitor in the GRU. He was actually working for the conspiracy inside the GRU. So is she representing this corrupted branch of the GRU, or the probably illegal branch of the GRU?
I think that's a really good question.
The question is, do I know or do I don't know?
You know you worked for her. You know, well, from this, you must assume that she's still with the GRU. That would make sense, because she's Korea, you know. But, you know, you don't know enough really about who was running who in there.
Or what's changed?
Yeah. So I'm afraid I tell you what, let's have you roll to investigate. Yeah. Let's have us flashback to you when you first were thinking about go. So there's a slightly younger Vlad in a Moscow apartment. And let's have you roll to investigate using your research, and let's see if you can get a feel for whether she was with the conspiracy or whether she was honest, inverted commas, GRU.
I'm probably even doing this research as a part of internal investigation, not knowing
maybe
for whom. I'm just frantically looking for the die roller here.
It's in lines and veils.
Yeah.
Got it.
How do I feel about the stressing? It's a flashback. I'm not gonna.
I'm going to give you a chance to seek relief from the horror in a moment. I just couldn't resist that capture option.
Perfect.
Oh, a 6. So look, I'm very happy for this to depend on what you, Pavel, want to be true. Do you want it to be with the conspiracy or with the honest GRU?
I think it will be interesting to have her as an honest GRU. I was basically, she was my manager, and she was, to the best of my knowledge, very career-oriented, very patriotic, and not the type that the conspiracy would. We spent a lot of work trying to avoid her finding stuff out that we are doing on the side.
Okay, fine. That works perfectly. Do you want to ask, because you've got a 6, so I'm going to give you a point of intel. Yeah?
Yes, so I need to roll stress die.
You need to roll with the stress die, because, this is a bit stressful, to be honest.
It's a free, so
no problem. I'll let you ask me another question about her, because I think the one that you would have asked me, which is she clean or not, you've answered for yourself. So is there something else you want to know about her or her bit of the GRU?
I think I'm interested in how far is she going to go? Is she willing to go for her country?
I think she'd go a long way, because you've described her as patriotic. I think there's no question that she's in the job because she loves her country. Yeah. And I'm sure we all have views of the GRU, but she's in there for the right reasons.
Cool.
She may do the wrong thing, inverted commas, but she's doing it for the right reasons. And so she's offering you a chance to come back to the GRU if you will spill why you're in Moscow. If not, he's going to walk away. But this is a one-time offer, Vlad. For old time's sake, she's going to walk away. But
I think Vlad basically continues to like the sink and wash his hands, and he stands in front of her, looking her deep in the eyes, and he says, "I've returned because I still love my country, and there's a danger right here in Moscow, and I'm tracking it. I will deal with it. And then I think I'll be gone, because both of us know that I can't go back."
I think I'd like you to roll to just persuade her that you're on the up and up, or convince her in some way. Now, it's not really your skill set, that is it? So nope. You're rolling without expertise, stress dice, if you would like it.
Yeah, I'm like really thinking, can I make? I'm going to ask my co-players because I do not track all of the evidence. Do you think we have any kind of? Let's just go with it. No, yeah, That's I think pretty stressful because.
Can he call a persuasive friend?
I think his persuasive friend is legless on the dance floor.
Yeah,
True.
yeah. Let's roll with the stress die. 3 and a 2.
Okay. She says, if there was a big enough problem, Vlad, I'd know about it. If you change your mind, call me. And she presses her card into your hand as she and her bodyguards leave. Now, that all started with you wanting to seek relief from the horror. So Vlad, has that cooled your ardor?
Yeah, I think if anything, it made Vlad even to want to do it more because now he already had this high emotions. So yeah, he just goes on the dance floor, dances to like crazy with Lena, and then just like drop the suggestion, the apartment is for us tonight. That's it.
And that's where we draw the veil.
Yeah.
So you reduce stress by 1 and you roll the stress dice to see what the consequence, if any, is.
Let's roll the stress die for the poetic. It's a
3.
3.
Your inadequacy is clear to everyone, and the other person pities you, and you are ashamed. You cannot use your expertise until stress goes up again, Vlad. Okay. Let's.
Too much vodka, Vlad. Too much vodka.
Let's keep moving. What about Eun-Jung?
Well, I'm going to first spend that intel to drop myself down to 3. And then I think there's this moment where we're kind of getting ready, from Dubai, plotting out where I need to go. And I kind of look at my phone and I'm like coldly angry. And I'm quickly sort of changing out my flight itinerary through Europe. And I think that I'm getting ready to fly to Geneva, where my friend's son has essentially skipped 3 days of school. And the people from the academy are writing me to that. And I think that cuts to me kicking in the door of some kind of apartment in Geneva to find these teens, taking a long weekend off and just walking in and grabbing people up and moving them around until I find him and lay my hands on him.
And there's that kind of marijuana fug and half bottles of spirits and he kind of, how does he call you Eun-Jung? Does he call you, what kind of
I think he calls me by Eun-Jung. I think that's or if he's really pissed, Auntie.
Well, but it's going to be Auntie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh fuck, Auntie! These are my friends. We just, it's just a break. It's midterm reading. It's.
I'm just like, get dressed.
Oh shit. Okay, because he's not going to mess with you.
I'm not a big woman or anything like that, but I look pretty serious. And if any one of them gives me guff, I take them down to the floor, and I break a wrist, just to show how absolutely unpleasant and serious I am.
Oh, there's got to be some mouthy blonde British public school boy who's there, and you know, he plays rugger and is terribly butch. And this little Korean woman comes in, and he says, "Look, you just fuck off, you know, just fuck off."
I grab him, throw him to the floor, and say, "Shut up, Boris."
Thank you for that one. And he goes away cradling his wrist, of course. And therefore, I think that counts. Now, you go either way with this. Was this revealing, seeking solace in the relationship, or were you behaving badly by physically
I think
abusing?
I'm behaving badly.
Or do you want both of them?
Because
Because you've told us something about your anchor.
Let's start with the behave badly and let's see how that rolls out.
Okay. So you reduce stress by 1, and you roll the stress dice to see what, if any, consequences there are of this.
Okay, let me take my stress down by 1 and make sure I took off my intel. No, I didn't. We do that. And then I go to the roller, which I haven't pulled up yet, of course, because I'm not a clever man. Open. Oh, stressed on my old friend. All right, I'm rolling that green die.
Ah,
It is a 3.
which is fine.
Fine.
You're on 3, aren't you? So it's not higher than current stress.
It is. I'm actually with that.
Oh, no,
if I
sorry,
lower it
I'm
first, I'm
miles
at
away.
2.
Yeah, sorry, I'm miles away. Inadequacies, yeah. So you feel, you know, your let's call him your nephew, kind of,
Mhm.
and everybody else in the place just looks at you as if to say, was that absolutely necessary? And his view of you, you know, he kind of looks at you and he's ashamed of what you did, Eun-Jung.
I'll mark my expertise.
Thank you. Until stress goes up again. Shame. Do you want to, because you've told us something about him, do you want to get the benefit of solace in the relationship with your anchor? Because all it's going to mean is that he's going to go missing because you were such a shit.
Yeah, I think that actually that makes sense.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Reduce stress again. Roll the dice because it could be a 6.
Okay. I'm a terrible human being.
It wasn't a 6. So
was
stress has
not.
gone down by 1, but I'm going to mark him as missing because the next day, as you're in that kind of queue of people waiting to board the flight to Moscow, you get a phone call on that kind of civilian phone from the school saying, we're slightly worried that that your nephew isn't in the schoolhouse where he normally stays. He's not, so look, we've contacted the police, as is our normal practice. And we'll stay in touch, okay?
I will be back in Geneva as soon as I can. I'm on a business trip right now.
Well, okay.
But I will be there. Please keep me informed.
Do you know if anything
developments.
happened over the weekend?
I have to go.
Oh, okay. Bye. Click. That fell together very beautifully, I thought. And that's a really nice place for us to take our first break. It's 4 minutes to. I'm going to suggest we're back in our seats at 5 minutes past, just so I have time to make a cup of tea. Okay. So I will pause. We're back from our break. So that was all on the way to Cosmobucks, or whatever we decided it was called, Kosmobutski, and where the whole point was to begin to rough out how you're going to come at this. So I'm seeing now all 4 of you with, the best Moscow coffee that you can get, discussing where you go next. Lena's clearly hungover. Vlad is looking a little sheepish. Eun-Jung, you've been thinking about your nephew. Jimmy, you've made a kind of promise to Heinrich. Can you keep up? Can you live up to it? So let's go to Eun-Jung. Eun-Jung, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. What I would be saying to Vlad is, so some names from the conspiracy operation here in Moscow, right?
Yes.
Okay. Then I think that you and I can both put our skills to use. I have my digital intrusion, your surveillance and research, and see if we can discern a pattern of activity from them that would give us an indication of where they're headed.
I think that's very cool.
Sure, that's a good point. I was thinking that I would definitely help, but those are like old contacts from 3 years ago. I'm not sure. Yeah, we'll do it. I was actually thinking about going to this. I always consider this like a mambo jumbo. There is this Madame Arcady. You know, I told you that, and we did this like shadow test that they don't have one of those shadow vampires, but they still feel weird after this desert. So she's a medium. I've just thought I'd go there and we try to talk to whatever is stopping me. I don't know.
You think you're haunted?
Well, he
Sense
has
danger
been
stuff.
having the same dream.
Kind of, yes. We did the shadow test, so it's not one of those Greek shadows that Rook told us about. So it has to be something, and it started after this desert, and who knows what was happening there. It was weird. So
Listen,
this
we
dream.
killed a man made out of sand, and you know, Bankson nearly ripped the side off an armored personnel carrier.
Fair enough.
You know.
Please allow me to have just a modicum of skepticism to renew my faith in humanity here, because this shit is crazy.
I thought ghosts were part of the Catholic faith.
That's not exactly how that works, but thank you for completely misinterpreting the Trinity. Thanks.
Nay bother.
And there's no way that was a Holy Ghost, I'll tell you that now.
So I thought I could start with this medium, and then and then after I don't know what comes out of it, I'll be able to help you, Eugene. Dude, we can do you want to like track down those people or just follow them?
My first step is going to be just from your names trying to traffic analysis on them effectively.
Sure.
Okay, so Vlad is thinking of seeking out Madame Arcady. That will require someone to call on a contact, the librarian, who knows about weird shit. Eun-Jung is going to start with a list of names that might be a couple of years out of date, but he's going to see what she can track down about them as the people that Vlad worked with as part of the conspiracy. That works for me. Lena, how are you thinking of coming at this?
I think go and see Moscow police and pop talk them using my previous sort of say that I'm a Finnish investigator. This is a bit of sort of Finnish Russian working together.
Okay.
Plus combined with I'm looking for my missing husband, which is no lie, and I will take a polygraph. Let's see what Russian police. Maybe I might go off some of the information some of the other characters generate, as in that will be the combustible fuel that I could use to. Yeah.
Okay. And just to be clear, that you are going in as someone looking for your husband who happens to have been a Finnish police person, rather than pretending to be a Finnish police on the hunt, because you'll need accreditation for that.
Let's be the concerned wife.
Fine, because you've got authority, you can play the card, but you're not a police. It's not an official investigation.
Yeah, I know I'm not a police person.
Fine. And what about Jimmy? What are you thinking, Jimmy?
I'm thinking Amtran. I'm thinking weapons. I'm thinking the arms deal. I'm thinking that was Baraski's operation. I'm thinking maybe shake a few of his old companies set up here. My thing is a businessman, but the criminal underworld of Moscow is is like the crossroads for guns, weapons, everything that runs through the world.
Just to be clear, are you going into, you're looking to break into this place in order to...
No, I think it's more along the lines of, well, I suppose actually I could frame it as that, couldn't I? A black bag operation, like break into Amtrans and scour the records and things like that. Yeah, I'll go for that, because I was just going to lean back on the whole I talk to more shady people kind of things, but I've done a lot of that in previous ones. So now
Yeah, I think it's time we saw Jimmy, you know, doing some second story work.
Well, I do that, and then you throw a vampire at me, and then
Well, you know,
yeah,
what can I tell you?
yeah.
You know?
But I do think it's a good idea to do the to frame the investigation scenes in that way as well, right? Rather than a whatever. So I get my expertise for that, I want to assume.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go background.
Oh,
to
sorry,
Eun-Jung
sorry.
first.
Of course, we're doing the circ. Sorry.
Yeah. So Eun-Jung, you've got some names, and you are just trying. So you know, you're trying to track phone use, you know, car sat navs, maybe anything at all that would give you some sense of what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, if they're in a scramble and if they're in a mad operation, perhaps operational discipline has gone down. They're trying to move quickly, and they're not doing as much sort of pattern cover for the things. So I'm trying to see if I can identify some spots and some things that I can then pass on to my compatriots.
Fine. Then I think this is roll to investigate, because you want to ask me some questions, really.
Okay.
Using your digital intrusion skill and the stress dice, if you'd like to add it. And I look at your current stress and I think, why would Eun-Jung not want the best chance of success?
I'm losing money, not rolling that die. So yes, I'm going to roll those 3 middle dice then.
Ooh, went the crowd. A 6, and it ain't on the stress dice. So basic information. It certainly looks like most of the names on that list, if they're still in the GRU, then they are busy. You get that for nothing, right? So yes, something is going down. Yeah. And you have 2 questions to ask me.
Since we're doing digital tracking, what I want to know is, what is it they like? What is the search that they're looking for? Like, what are the key phrases or things like that that they have that might give us a better clue to where they're headed?
Well, for nothing, I'll tell you that in some of the chatter, there is mention of box 13, suggesting that they are looking for what you're looking for. But in terms of pattern recognition and traffic analysis, when you kind of, you know, and we probably see some kind of map of Greater Moscow with, you know, cell phone indicators going on in different places, and then vectors showing movement from this, they use their phone here to they use their phone there. And I think I can tell you that, yes, I'm certain I can tell you in answer to that question that the most obvious thing is that the focus of their attention appears to be around, I've lost the name of the airport.
Oh,
weird?
so it is a location rather than they're hunting for particular. Okay.
It is a location. It appears to be Domodova. There it is. I can't even say it. Domodedovo Airport. But you know, precisely, it's one of the freight compounds clustered around the airport.
Okay.
Yeah, you get that for nothing.
Yeah.
What I'm going to suggest, do you want to sit on your second question while we see what else we find out, and then I'll come back?
Yeah, I kind of think I know what it is, but yeah, let me catch it on the second go round.
Okay.
And I get an intel.
Oh, you get a point of intel.
Okay.
But the fact that so many of the list is still active, that 6 does mean you do need to roll for stress.
Okay.
Oh, look at that.
There it goes up.
No, it's a 1. It has to
Oh,
exceed
that's right.
on a
It's
stress
equal.
roll.
Yeah.
Wow. She is just ice cold. ice cold in Moscow. Vlad, you were interested in calling on a contact, the librarian, Madame Arkady. So I'm assuming you've spent the stress, you've marked the stress to call on a contact?
Yes. Now my question, does it unblock my expertise?
It does, because stress just went up.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing, you know, okay, that didn't go well. That was a bad move. Boundaries, professional, personal. But actually now I'm back in the groove.
Focus.
And Madame Arkady is a former Russian entertainer, really, I think, probably. And did some work for the Soviets. So she's probably in her 80s. But now she makes a living kind of doing readings for the Moscow elite, the oligarchy elite.
Yeah.
And so describe what's significant about the apartment where she greets you, Vlad?
I think what's significant about this apartment is that the entire place is made for a show, because Vlad is uncertain. She might have some skill, she might not. It's uncertain. It's uncertain. She was in a GRU like observed list, but most of this is like to make a show. It's like everything is covered in a satin black material. There are some like well hidden like illuminators, so that there's like incense burning somewhere, and some music. I think there's actual someone who's like looking for the camera all the time and is playing like the most appropriate sound to just like emphasize whatever is happening. And she's like in the middle, I don't know, the huge table with a crystal ball in the middle, and stuff like that.
It looks like a stage set, doesn't it? But Paul, just help us here. What single thing do we see that suggests them that she might actually have some power?
I think I think she's got some sort of like mark of Cain on her.
Right.
Sort of, yeah.
So maybe she's got these fingerless black lace gloves, and just as she stretches and we see something on her forearm, and she kind of just pulls the sleeve down.
Yeah, covers it up.
Okay. Well, look, the way that I think this works, Vlad, mechanically, is that this gives you fictional positioning to interrogate a ghost.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, and the way Madame Arkady operates is it's commanding. It's come to me now, come. And so I think you get temporary use of authority to bully a ghost.
Wow, that's yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. And yeah, I totally imagine the conversation starting with like Vlad just like saying, I think I have a passenger that I would like to interrogate.
Yes, I sense him. I sense the presence. There is a presence here. And it's not you, and it's not me.
Let's summon them, because I have a few questions.
And maybe it's a trick, but the level of light in the room seems to go down. And now it's almost like there is a light emanating from that crystal ball.
Mm-hmm.
And in that crystal ball, you begin to see, now you may just remember that when you ran that APC through that wall in the middle of the summoning, you saw this vaguely shadowy, dusty figure beginning to congeal from what we now know was the general's coffin. And you begin to see that in the crystal ball. And then as you look carefully at the crystal ball, you're not certain if that's inside the crystal ball or whether it's a reflection of you. let's
I
have
feel
you.
very, very not at ease over here.
Indeed. Would you like to include the stress dice when you roll with expertise to interrogate a ghost?
Definitely, that's a potentially very stressful situation. And this die.
Yeah, that's a pretty stressful situation. Stress goes up by 1, but it is a 6. You have self-diagnosed appropriately. You are carrying the spirit of General Buraski.
Mhm.
And what Madame Accardi says is, he is unquiet. He was disturbed from his sleep, and then not returned to sleep. And so he has attached himself to you. It has attached itself to you. So you get that for nothing. It is Buraski. Do you have a question for General Buraski?
Yes, of course. I'm just wondering how much do we wanna cheese it, and me asking where is box 13 instead of me asking what do you want in return to reveal where is box 13.
Trust me, I'll make it really easy for you.
Yeah, I think Vlad stands up, looks directly into the crystal ball, and says, "Where is box 13?"
And the bizarre thing, you know, the way that in typical seances, it's the medium who begins 30. In this case, it's you. And your head flicks back, and we are looking at the crystal ball where we see this figure, head thrown back as if it's you. 13. Belosova knows 13. Belosova knows 13. That's the answer to your first question. I'm going to pause there and leave you for a second question.
I just want to understand the answer. Did he just drop the name of the earlier NPC you introduced?
Yes. Yeah, Comrade Dr. Belosova.
So,
I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but that's, I think, how I spelled it.
My former boss with whom I had a discussion in the toilet.
Oh, no, I beg your pardon. No, this is in the files that you picked up in Site B. One of them was a field report from an Afghan field test where they tried to weaponize the jinn. And at the top of that, it says something like, the summonings, the trial summonings went just as Comrade Dr. Belosova predicted. And I think I might even have put that name in the conspiracy board. If I didn't, I should have done. I'm going to come back to you for the 6, but mark intel because you've got a 6. Stress has already gone up, so we needn't worry about that. Let me come to Lena. Lena, do you go to Moscow Central Police Station, or?
Yeah, I think Moscow Central Police Station. Report that my husband's missing, and I believe he, it was in Moscow. There's a Interpol file. They should try and pull that, and I haven't heard anything, so I'm really concerned. Can I speak to whatever investigators working on this or should be working on it?
And I think that after a degree of kind of, never heard of that name, Interpol, slightly suspicious by Interpol, perhaps. Let's have you roll the dice with. I feel you're playing the authority rather than the persuasion card, but I leave it to you for tone.
Yeah. I'm definitely I know about cop procedures, so I'm pushing them where they need to be pushed.
Yeah. Pressing the right buttons. Yeah. So you're rolling with expertise. The stress dice, if you'd like it. Let's see how this goes.
Well, let's have the stress dice, because who doesn't like it? The stress is lower, and I've got a 4 on expertise.
So the basic information is that, they pulled that file. But I think the basic information you'll see is that file, when one of their kind of senior investigators takes you to one side with the file, he says, look, I don't quite know how to say this, but but the file's marked for no action. And you know, he'll spin it round. They found, you know, someone who shares a language with you, and he spins it round. And he says, you know, obviously we get the files in Russian, but, you know, do you see this at the top here where it says, you know, mischievous complaint? That suggests that this is just someone made a complaint about a missing person, mischievously, that it wasn't, you know, and so it's a standard way of saying, don't bother. You get that one for nothing. Do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, who was the person that made that complaint?
I mean, and he says, look, this is embarrassing. You know, clearly, you know, I believe you that your husband went missing, but this shows that somewhere in the Finnish National Bureau of Investigation, somebody quashed it, because it says here that the missing person is one of their investigators, and you know, I'm believing that that's your husband from what you've told me, and yet it appears to have been quashed within Finland.
Okay.
Because he went missing in Italy or somewhere, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he's you know, I'm embarrassed because I don't know what I can do about that. I suppose, you know, what I can do is I can put it through a process that will alter that setting, so when everybody else looks at it, it won't say mischievous complaint, because you've made a genuine complaint to me. I feel that you know, I believe you. But it's, you know, I don't know who would do that. And you tell me you worked for the Finns. You worked.
Yeah. I used to work for them.
Well, all I can say is that someone inside that organization didn't want your husband found.
Okay, and do I get the name?
Yeah, you can give me any Finnish name that you look up. No, I tell you what, I'll give you a name. I'll give you the name, because I wrote it down earlier and I thought that'll be a useful name. The name is Gutterman. It doesn't sound very Finnish, but trust me, it is.
Yeah.
Inspector Gutterman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I won't be coming back to you for a second question. I will be rolling on to Jimmy. Jimmy, frame a break-in to Armstrong.
Armstrong. Yeah, I'm imagining Armstrong is in a. I can hear myself.
Yeah, I suddenly got a bit of feedback then.
Yeah, Armstrong is what I think I'm breaking into that old offices. They've got a nice shiny new corporate one, but it's the old one, the one that was around when Baraski was in charge, and it's like a depot kind of area, you know, really down by the dock. Not well, there are docks in Moscow, aren't there? Down the river Vostok, or whatever it's called. I forget the name.
Volga.
Volga. That's it. I remember that the 2000 AD comic. Savage, they called them Volgans rather than Russian Soviets. But anyways, I digress. I break into there, and it is, of course, nighttime, and of course, I'm all in black, and of course, there are some Russian guys sipping vodka from hip flasks and smoking cigarettes as I go over the wall. So I roll with expertise, and of course, I include my stress die.
And this is rolling to investigate with a break-in.
But I roll 1, 2, 2, so that's terrible.
Now remember that you can invoke your specialism as a burglar once per session for the simple cost of 1 stress.
That's true. I'll do that because I've never done that.
And that will improve that from fail to you know, you'd have got the basic information.
Yeah, but our heat would have gone up, and I'd rather put that off mainly, I suppose. Although I am curious what happens when we get to the final one in Moscow.
And I think what you get, what you know, you're going through stuff, and you find a file called Prizivatel. Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, in some filing cabinet, it's a paper file from the 1990s. But what's clear is it's been gutted. But there is an address, a Moscow residential address.
Okay. A Moscow residential address doesn't happen to be one Comrade Dr. Belasova's residential address, does it?
I couldn't possibly tell you that, could I? Unless you were to ask me a question, which you got, because you know, you've improved it from fail to one question. So you could ask me a question.
Yeah, I mean, you know, what else is significant? Is there anything more significant about this address, bearing in mind the context of what other people have discovered?
I think that it is the home address of Dr. Irina Belosova.
Okay, so we definitely, and I now know, so we know this was Belosova, and we know where Belosova is. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
I just want to go to answer Pavel's question in the chat about how he doesn't know how to create it. The conspiracy failed to reproduce it, and Baraski told them that he couldn't reproduce it. He doesn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
He doesn't, we don't know how much of what Baraski said was a lie to the conspiracy.
I'm sure he was honest as the day is long, all his professional life. I am going to go back now, I think, because I think that this is the point when Lowell has a task to do at home. So I'm going to go to Vlad. Vlad, I owe you an answer to a question.
Yes, I think I will leave the question on of how to. I have a lot of intel. Yes, let's question the ghost, because it's a wonderful scene. Yeah, Vlad tries to control himself because it's very weird feeling, and when he's back in control of it, he leans back. He leans again onto the ball, and he says, "How to destroy it safely? You know what?" And I might even drop a name. I sort of like trust this person, so I think I will even drop the name. How to destroy safely? How to dispose safely of
Prizivatel, yes.
Yes.
Summoner. We should just start calling it Summoner. It's much easier. Electricity and keep it from sand. Destroy it, blow it up, burn it, keep it from sand. Ooh. Does that seem like a fair answer?
Yes, I was wondering if this was some special effect with the camera going up or down. Yeah,
welcome to my ceiling.
Yes, that was a sufficient answer. I think if I spend an intel, can I sort of basically ask him how to get rid of him, or it's not how the intel works?
I think for nothing, you can ask Madame Arcadi that, and I think what Madame Arcadi will say is that he'll leave when he's happy.
Okay.
Because she can't break the summoning. She doesn't know the details of the summoning. But usually spirits depart when they are satisfied.
Well, then I have to, again, I'm willing to spend intel for it. I have to like lean back to the ball and ask, what will make you happy so that you can leave me be?
I don't spend, you don't need to spend intel for this.
Sure.
You have to stop them getting Prizieratel. Because in his death, I think the general regrets what he did.
Yeah, and in this weird reflection from the ball, where it's not sure whether it's Vlad or the general. Vlad looks at him in the ball and he says, "I never thought you were a patriot. I thought you were a traitor. I guess I thought wrong."
And as a parting shot, he will say, And you have the same decision to make.
So good.
Let's cut back round to Eun-Jung. Eun-Jung, I owe you a question just to make sure that you're fully caught up. We have Comrade Dr. Volosova's home address, and we know how to destroy Priziviertel. So Eun-Jung, do you have another question that might come out of your pattern analysis?
Pulling together the information that we've gotten from other people and the things and the original documents, here's my question. What have they got wrong about where this thing is at?
Okay. I think, you can see a couple of visits, and this may not be what you want, so you can have this and then choose again.
Sure.
Because it's difficult for me to exclude all the possibilities without pointing you at it. But I think that what you will see in the pattern analysis is you see a number of visits to a Moscow residential district. And it feels like that's where they think it is.
And that's different from this freight compound.
Yes.
Is it where I believe?
Well, later at Kosmobutsky, when you were comparing notes, that street address that Jimmy took out of the old files at Armstrong it's the same street. It's difficult from the cell phone to track it down more than that. But either that building or that street has been under observation by the conspiracy's GRU goons, or they've been visiting it a lot.
Is there attention on that now, or is it on the freight now?
It's on the freight now.
Okay, I will say they seem to have turned their attention to the freight, but this other location they've hit quite a bit. Like maybe something told them it wasn't there, or maybe they missed something. But given that we've got this cross-reference, I mean, if we're going to gamble, I almost want to gamble on this street, Jimmy.
I mean, I'd hope that we'd got one step ahead of them there. But if they've already been looking on the street, then they've probably already found Comrade Doctor.
But they're still looking. That's the thing. They're still looking. They didn't find what they were looking for because they're still active and hot out there at the same activity level, which means they went to the street. They didn't find what they wanted. They still got it under surveillance, but now they're sweeping over to the freight place. I think maybe we can find what they didn't because we're smarter than them.
Well, speak for yourself, but yeah, I'm up
I
for
will.
that. Yeah. I'm so hit the house. Try and get that.
We should look and see what is it that like they missed.
I mean, do we have time to do another? I mean, like, I know we're sort of losing the structure a bit.
You are now in the operation.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But this is an operation that could be spread over space and time in a way that your kind of the previous ones have been. There's the target building. There's the target building. Go there now. Do this.
Here's two halves. Here are the like here's step one that we have to do in two teams. Vlad and probably you need to case the joint, figure out what they would have missed, where this could be that they didn't see. Meanwhile, Lena and I have to figure out how to deal with the GRU surveillance of the area. Once we have those two points in play, we can then move to securing and terminating the box, right?
Maybe at the Domodedovo freight airport, for all we know.
We got to gamble. I like this one.
But do we know exactly where it is? Maybe we should have a little chat with Dr. Belusova. I think it was a she indication that it was.
Yeah. I may have changed the gender between when I wrote the notes and when I've come live.
Well, we so to step out of the mission structure of against that conspiracy, it feels as though we can essentially do an investigation scene on an investigation role on some of this, rather than go into the full-blown like kick in the door and work it out.
So the difference is that you have done the groundwork. Now you're going to have an operation. You're going to enter the operation phase, but this may have a number of different scenes in a number of different locations, leading to wherever it goes. Yeah. So you're in the operation because we have to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah.
Because of the use of stress, if nothing else. So that's how I envisage this. So instead of to use the raid on the Burj as an example, instead of having a scene which is Vlad and Eun-Jung making their way up to the rooftop in order to do X, Y, and Z, while Lena and Jimmy make their way to the suite. There's two scenes going there. There's no reason why we can't have one scene on a residential street in Moscow and then another scene at an airport later.
Yeah, cool.
Or indeed in parallel.
Cool. So I tell you what, let's immediately jump to and try and get the ball rolling on the street thing, right?
Just before we start, do you want me to spend some of this intel to add more for during the briefing?
You're welcome to do that. I mean, what I thought you might want, I don't know how much you want to hang on to in terms of what you might end up facing. There's that tricky business about, do you want to hang on to some intel for when you face something unpleasant?
If he asked you a question on what supernatural enemies might we face, would that work with intel?
You have to have the fictional positioning.
Okay.
Now you can begin. So, for instance, Vlad could spend a point of intel to define an obstacle that Vlad would look cool overcoming between now and the end of play.
I wanted to do this as well. I'm just asking, do you want to learn more during the briefing, because I can spend 1 to intel and ask, and we can ask a lot more questions. I just don't have those questions ready, so I'm opening the floor. I'm willing to spend intel for it if you would like to learn more during the briefing.
As long as we can attach those questions to the fictional positioning, the 4 scenes you framed. Yeah. So happy.
Is Thingy alive? Dr. Comrade Belasova, what's her current status?
Oh, I don't need you to spend intel for that. I think a quick look in the Moscow directory, telephone directory, will find a Dr. I. Belasova. If you want to spend intel, I can tell you a little bit about her more recent history.
Yeah, why not? Does that sound good? Yeah, more intel's always good.
Okay,
Yeah.
Who's spending?
I'm spending.
Okay, so Vlad spends intel, and I can tell you that now she's about 85. She was in her prime at the end of the Soviet era. And when you look her up, she's listed mostly as working in Moscow hospitals until she retired about 20 years ago. And she's listed as, Dr. Belasova. What you can't find is anything very specific about the period when she was clearly working for the government in the 80s and maybe early 90s. Because I don't think you've got the fictional positioning for that. You'll need to crack the GRU's database for that kind of stuff. So you could do that once we start the operation, but I'm just tying up any last investigative spend.
Okay, my only other question is, well, you know what, why don't we use it for something that's like hard framing, right? Which is Eun-Jung and Lena taking out the intel, the conspiracy eyes on the ground, right? Like the intel here gives us an opportunity to ask or define where they are.
I want to reassure you that Eun-Jung's pattern checking shows that they've stopped looking at that address. The very fact that they're no longer there, she's got no eyes on the ground for the last several days.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, in that case, Jimmy, I'm at your disposal. What we want me to do next?
Tell you what. Let's do a quick scene with let's just go into it, like I'm looking at the intel. I think we need to find more stuff out. I want to do a quick break into Bolsover's place, try and find out where she is, that kind of thing. And then it feels like the airport's actually where the focus is, unless we find something there, right? And I can't think of ways to spend the intel in this stage to answer more questions.
I think that your fictional positioning has got as far as you can, I think, to be honest.
I know, it's just I'm looking at how much intel that's got, and I'm like, I want more. Yeah.
I want to spend one intel to say that I'm again want to face a supernatural body.
Super bad. If in doubt, put super bad next to Vlad. Fine, I've added a super bad to the obstacle.
There's no way, like, the ghost of Baraski might warn him of some occult force that he's about to face.
Who could tell
right?
you? Who could tell? Eh?
I mean, if he spent an impact, might be some fictional positioning for it. Who knows? No,
yeah,
okay.
But Baraski isn't kind of long distance supernatural radar, is he?
No, I know. Who knows? Who knows?
Does anyone else want to spend some intel to define an obstacle they will face sometime between now and the end of the evening? Okay, I'm going to go.
I would like to kill a vampire. I would like to face somebody who is connected to the previous scene. Can I do that? Like somebody who's connected to the conspiracy.
There's already
alive.
a super bad on the. Do you want a second super bad?
No, or a person. Like I want to kill somebody who's connected. Like in that we killed Bankson, right? Like,
okay.
I want this to be connected to the
conspiracy. Spend your intel and some NPC we already know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I liked killing Bankson. So
I can go for something else and leave a super body for someone else.
No, each of you could only spend one intel on that.
I would like to spend an intel.
Oh, go on.
I would like some kind of countdown, some kind of device or something that like might revolve around Vlad or my technical or data intrusion abilities to try and shut down. Sound good? A
dangerous countdown in return for a spend of intel.
I've spent my
Lena,
intel.
Are you sitting on whatever you have, or do you want to get in on this game as well?
No, let's go for. Let me remove one intel first. I would like a lair that could only be accessed through an underwater system.
Okay.
Like Moscow sewers, and then you've got to go deeper.
Okay. The sewers and below. ... Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to make it entirely underwater because you might run out of gear.
Yeah.
So I will now ask you just to. I've assumed at the moment you are lightly loaded as you approach this residential street in Moscow.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the way you want it? Is this going to be? Excuse me, I'm here to check your internet, which is one way we do this, or is this on ropes from the roof?
I think it is just breaking in through the fire exit at the back. And this is an apartment building. These are Soviet era blocks. They've got quite big things.
Okay.
And it's just Jimmy's the door, and him and Vlad go in, and we are going to go knock on the front door and then break in discreetly.
Okay.
If there's no one in,
Okay. So let's have you roll to break in without getting any attention, then, Jimmy.
Okay. I will bring my my burglary gear, burglary kits, intrusion tech.
So do you want to be medium loaded then? Or are you?
I'm fine with it. It's only one tick, isn't it? If I went medium though, would I be able to change my gear in between this scene and the other scenes? Or
I think I'm going to allow that happen as long as there's fictional positioning, as long as we've got reasonable gaps.
Cool. That sounds reasonable to me.
Vlad, medium or light?
I think light. Just to clarify, we are going to break to a place that the GRU agents were looking in, but now abandoned looking into it.
Yep.
And move on.
because it seemed as though they didn't find exactly what they were looking for. So we're hoping that our eyes can catch it. And I know that Vlad's eyes, like, they can catch anything when he's not looking through the bottom of a vodka bottle.
Cool. I need to check out the gear. Do I need something that weighs too, like scanner, whatever it is?
No, if you need it,
We'll come to it.
declare it when you need it.
I might need medium because some of this weight 2 blocks.
Okay.
That makes sense to me, to be honest, is that
Okay.
Jimmy's quite light on his feet and Vlad's like running along with a satchel underneath his like arm kind of thing. Okay, I will roll with expertise, of course. And you know, I've got a 50-50 on my stress, so why not? As a 5 on the normal dice, so
Okay,
I'm in.
so success, you're in. And approaching the door of the Belusova residence. Eun-Jung and Lena, what are you doing while they're playing break-ins?
I think my time is spent mapping electricals and wiring and surveillance and all of that stuff. It's just getting the biggest, best picture I can to get into whatever is here that is not just you know, a hard plug in the wall.
Okay, I'll come back to you for a dice roll if we end up needing one. Lena, what
Okay.
about you?
Yes. I've got no idea.
You could be with us if you wanted to try and like,
I
for all
thought
we
me
know,
and
Bolsover's there.
I thought me and Eun-Jung were going to do something, but that seems to have
It's because
disappeared.
I think Lowell misunderstood
Yeah,
something that was said.
I thought the GRU were still on scene, but they're not.
They're at the
Oh,
airport.
okay.
They're at the airport.
They're at the
Go to
airport. Let's go to the airport. Yeah, let's do something at the airport.
Eun-Jung, do you want to stay and do your kind of blueprint analysis, or do you want to go to the airport with Lena?
It's Lena, so no, I want to stay here and do that.
Of course, yeah, I'd forgotten about that. So Lena, you are, you know, you've got to the airport. What do we see you doing as you're kind of scouting the area?
I'm 100% lost here, really, Alan. I'm not really got what we're doing.
Can I just do a quick one?
By all
So
means.
basically, the conspiracy has been to the doctor's house. The doctor,
Yeah, I got that.
right.
Yeah.
But they've seemed to have mostly given up on this place, and they now
Yeah,
seem to be
yeah,
directing their
got that.
attention at the airport, at the freight airport in this place, right? So what we're doing is that's where the conspiracy is active, at the airport. Maybe you're going to check it out. Maybe you're going to see what's what on the scene,
Or create distraction.
Yeah. I think,
very
yeah.
Lena.
So I'm going to visit the airport under the. Let's spend a point of. Can I use intel? Well, I can use it similar to stress, can't I? Because I could gain a stress and then use the intel to get rid of it.
Well,
So-
no, hang on. During operation, you can once your stress is 4+, you can spend it to reduce stress. Not until then.
Okay. Well, can I use intel to get false, like an identity?
You can call on a contact to do that. That will just cost you stress.
Okay, but I can't use intel for that.
No.
No. Okay. Yeah, let's spend a point of stress.
And what are you after?
I'm after Moscow waterboard. Yeah, I want to be a waterboard official.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that's not American kind of waterboarding.
No.
That's waterboard.
So mark stress.
Yeah, done.
And we already have a forger on the table, unless you wanted to
Yeah,
find
let's
another
have
one.
John Stone has jacked me up. Yeah, I think John Stone has jacked me up some paperwork saying I work for Moscow Waterboard.
Clipboard,
The greater.
lanyard. What more do you need?
Yeah, it's got to be a clipboard.
And what do we see you doing once you've got that? Because this will give you a one-shot go at disguise.
Yeah, I think this is me getting into this location using authority and my waterboard thingy, and tell them that
Well, let's see if you can get in.
Yeah.
Let's see if you can get in. So this is maintain your cover with expertise. Stress dice if you want it.
Yeah, why not? Let's have a bit of stress dice.
Oh,
Stress
stress
is
goes
the
up.
highest.
But on a 5, that works. So you get into this compound, right?
Yeah.
There's a gate. It's one of many compounds arranged around the airport where different companies have their freight arrive and depart from. And there is quite a lot of activity here. And the security guard on the gate has let you in under some pretext that you need to check the water supply. So you're inside the compound. Yeah. Let's cut back to Vlad and Jimmy approaching the door of number 183. And ding dong. And there's a pause. And then the door opens. Just a kind of crack. It's on a chain. And an old woman peers out at you and says, yes.
Comrade Belasova?
It's been a long time since anybody called me comrade rather than just Mrs.
Mr. Boraski referred us to you.
I'm going to need you to persuade her not to slam the door in your face.
I don't think I have persuasion in any way, shape, or form.
Neither of you are particularly socially adept, it must be said. So,
I mean, something I think about, I would be like, I call upon the ghost of Boraski, like I call her by the name that they shared, kind of thing. But yeah, maybe that's a thingy. I roll ones.
The door slams.
I call
Go
on. I call upon Chapstick, who has hacked in to whatever is available on her files that is available, her old files and things, and I drop the name, like the Russian name for the project kind of thing.
Prizivatel.
Well, yeah, exactly.
You don't need to spend that. You don't need to get Chapstick to do that for you. You've got her original report and the executive summary that Boraski wrote. So but the name Boraski is getting that door slammed in your face.
I say, Boraski, we're here to stop Prizivatel.
Now, I think she will pause. She looks at Vlad, and she looks at Vlad as if, she might almost have recognized Vlad for a moment. Vlad, what's your response? She's not slammed the door, but she's not opening it.
Yeah. So just to clarify, do we know that the GRU agents were already here investigating her? Oh, no, I don't know.
All you know that they spent quite a lot of time coming to and from this street.
Okay. Yeah, I think Vlad looks at her and he says, I forgot her name. Comrade
Belosova.
Yes. I even pasted here. Just a minute. Comrade Belosova, there are the project summoner, which I speak in Russian, has got out, and I'm totally going to play on this, and foreign powers are looking forward to seize it. The Americans are after it, and other nations. We need to know what you know, so that the things you have seen on the desert do not start to appear in our cities.
And then her mobile phone goes. And she looks at looks at you, looks at the phone, and just turns away from the door a little to take a call. The door is ajar, but I don't think she's listening. She's taking this call. Jimmy?
I mean, I comms and I go like, incoming call, Eun-Jung, and I step through the door, like just silently behind her. You know, if she's
Well,
turned away, I'm
remember,
like,
it's still on a chain,
oh,
so
it's
you
still on
need
the
to use
chain.
intrusion. Let's go to Eun-Jung
I mean, well, I
and
just kick it.
digital intrusion. So Eun-Jung, digital intrusion, can you intercept that call on the hoof? You have expertise, stress dice if you want it.
Yeah, I'm going to roll all three.
Okay. Oh, a
Three.
5. Yeah, and it's not.
2, 5, 4.
Yeah. So yeah, and what do
The
you
stress
then
die is
feed-
higher than my current stress, so it goes up by 1, right?
No, it only goes up if it's the highest dice you roll, or equal to or higher than.
Always forget this.
Yeah. A complicated difference that if only I could iron it out. And so you're hearing both sides of this call, and it's a stressed young woman's voice, and in Russian she's saying, "Grandma, is that you?" And Bella says, "Yes, Galina. What is it?" Some men have me.
Running a trace on that call.
Okay, let's go back to Jimmy. Are you going to just, reach around and flip the chain out?
Well, I'm imagining that Eun-Jung has my comms patched in to that. And what I say is, listen, we're here to stop that. And we're here to save. I just forgotten her name. And we can say, and we know where Galena is. We can save her.
What is it? And she reaches back and flicks off the chain, and she's talking to her daughter. And because she's 85, the conversation is not swift. So Eun-Jung,
I not at Vlad to be like, clear this place for any bugs.
Eun-Jung, let's have you roll digital intrusion to see if you can trace this as the conversation goes on. And while you're doing that, you're all hearing the conversation, including, of course, Lena. Now there, the stress dice is the highest, so stress goes up. Thank you for anticipating that. It's coming from Demodovo Airport.
Lena. Location patching through to you right now. This is what I've got on it. Okay, you're at the airport, right?
Yeah, I'll hunt it down.
All right.
And as the conversation goes on, we might narrow that down. Yeah. So what you're hearing is a very distressed Dr. Belosova and her distressed granddaughter Galina. And Galina is saying, some men came to the hospital. They told me you were ill and took me to a car. And now I don't know where I am. And they say that they want box 13 from you. Or they say, I'll never see you again. I'm frightened, Gran. I'm frightened. And you can see Vlad and Jimmy, you can see the look of horror on her face. And that, I think, is where we'll take a 5-minute break. Yeah, okay. And the doctor says, let me speak to them. Let me speak to them. Jimmy, you're in the hall, followed by Vlad behind her as she's Lena. The details that are coming through from Eun-Jung show that not only is it at the airport, it is somewhere in this compound that this call is coming in from. Yeah. Jimmy, Vlad, let's start with Vlad. Vlad, you going to do anything now you're in the flat, the apartment?
I think I'm actually going to grab, or maybe I take out a small notebook, and I write on it to show to her. Tell them fake location. Tell us the true location, and because we can save her. I got nothing. No one.
Okay. Okay. And she looks at that. And then she's about, and she looks at you, looks at what's on the paper, and says, and she gives them an address in a part of Moscow called Chelyabinsk. It's a suburb of Moscow called Chelyabinsk. And again, she's speaking, but she's looking at Vlad. Lena, what are you going to do?
I'm going to try and. I know it was something to do with the car. Didn't she say she was in a car? Taken by a car,
No,
in a boot car?
No, they took her in a car, and she didn't know where she was then. She doesn't know where she is.
Okay, let's try and hone in on these coordinates and tap the door.
Okay, well, I mean, think of this as a large open space, big enough for freight airplanes to be maneuvered about. But there's an office area and a kind of warehouse area. So where's your focus of attention?
Let's look around the warehouse.
Okay, head for the warehouse. Jimmy, I asked Vlad what he was doing. I'm curious what you're going to do now.
I mean, I feel like there's not much I can do other than toss the place in terms of further actioning things, right? So I'm happy to not do that because I ultimately just want to talk to Belasova when she's not on the line to the phone, you know?
Eun-Jung, you keep trying to narrow it down.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get whatever I can in terms of, surveillance or anything I can feed over. I want to be, in an ironic turn of events, the man in the van for Lena.
Yes, it was certainly it was coming like that, wasn't it? Well, okay, then I think you're now trying to crack the airport's system. So let's have you roll to digital intrusion again. See if you can get in. Ooh. So the only thing I can tell you is that you can get in. Okay, I'll give you an offer. You can fail, or I may offer you success at a cost. And the cost is that all this stuff you've been tracking, all these GRU phones you've been tracking, suddenly a little red light starts flashing in the corner of your screen, and you realize that someone's coming for you now. If you want to succeed.
Can I spend stress to get a contact? We have a hacker on call.
Okay.
I've got Leanne, essentially as soon as I realize this is a bigger job than I can handle, I'm going to, essentially patch into them and say, I need help right now.
Okay.
The security system, help me.
I see the stress go on. That could allow you a reroll, something that otherwise is impossible in this game. Do you want to reroll, or do you want something else out of that?
I'm going to reroll.
Because it can't be worse than 211, can it?
It can't be worse than 211. Literally, there's no number worse than that. It's not a possibility.
And as if by magic, and just as some conspiracy sysop is thinking, hang on, there's a funny pattern here. It just goes as Leanne just intercepts and sends them to Novosibirsk or somewhere, and that is success. So you have access. Do you want access to any secure doors that are controlled with this system? Do you want access to cameras, or do you want access to fire systems?
Lena, I can get fire, doors, or cameras. What do you want? You need to turn your mic on.
Well, let's go for doors.
Doors. Okay, got it.
Okay.
Cracking them now. You just give me code locations, and I'll pop them as you go.
Excellent.
Yes. I noticed in the chat you could spend to use your specialism, and sadly, Eun-Jung's specialism is killing people. So Lena, you're heading towards the warehouse, and you will see that there are several black SUVs pulled up outside. Yeah, and as you were watching, one of these freight airplanes that was taxiing nearby comes to a stop, and a man gets out of the plane, with again a couple of bodyguards. You know, they just have that look about them, and they are heading down onto the tarmac and walking to the warehouse that you are interested in. What do you want to do?
I'm going to approach them and tell them that they can't go in there, that they've got to return to their plane.
Okay. And the man who's clearly in charge, the one who's being bodyguarded, as you approach, they're speaking Finnish. Do you speak Finnish or Russian to them?
No, I'm going to speak Russian because I want to maintain my waterboard contact impression.
Okay, let's have you roll to persuade them. Now, normally you would include persuasion in this, but because these are conspiracy contractors in effect, they are wise to your wiles, so you won't be using expertise for this, right? These are serious named NPCs. So the ordinary dice and the stress dice if you want it.
Yeah, let's roll the stress dice. So there's been an outbreak of Legionella, and, you know, as science says, it affects men, not women, so they can't go in there. And I got a 5.
On a 5, that gives them pause. And one of them kind of the guy who's in charge pulls out his phone, and he tells he's speaking Russian, and in Russian he says, "It's Guterman. I'm told that you have a problem in there, that I can't come in. I've got some woman out here from the airport telling me I can't come in. What's going on?" Let's cut from there back to Vlad and Jimmy. She's put the phone down, and she's still staring at the pad of paper that Vlad gave her.
Jimmy is going to, like, you know, reach across, take her by the hand and say, "Dr. Bolsover, Galina will have told them where you are. She's a good girl, right? She cares. I know that she cares about you, but you know that that's what you'd want her to do, right?
Yes.
So we need to get you out of here now. And then we're going to go save your girl, right? And then we're going to go put an end to all of this. You with us?"
Yes, I suppose so.
Yeah.
But how did he know? And she points at Vlad.
Something came back from the desert with Vlad.
Because written on the pad is, trust him. He knows about our time together. You don't remember writing that down, Vlad?
Oh.
Eun-Jung, you're the woman in the van at this point. What are you going to do? Are you going to
Pulling the van around?
Okay, so old lady, Vlad, Jimmy, in the van. Lena, you've held him up, but I don't think it's going to last long, because they're saying there's nothing wrong, and you can probably hear behind you that sound of an enormous roller door going. What are you going to do?
Well, I'm going to keep with my story and say, these guys, you need to return to your plane. They've got Legionellas. You know, whether they know about it or not, we've detected it in the water source. You don't want to be exposed to it. Just return to your plane. You know, it should all be fine in a bit.
I think I'm going to need you to maintain your cover again, Lena, because it's stretching thin now. You're using authority, aren't you?
Yep. So
you can use that expertise.
Okay, 3 dice.
Stress dice if you want it.
Yeah, why not?
Stress goes up
Stress
by
is
what?
highest.
Ooh. Stress
That's
is now
fine.
5.
I'm going to spend a point of intel to remove that.
Okay. And it's delaying them. But 3 guys are coming from the warehouse towards you. And I'll ask you in a moment what you're going to do. So Jimmy, Eun-Jung, Vlad, and Dr. Velosova, are you heading to the airport? Or are you heading to box 13?
Where is box 13, Doctor?
because as Lena is watching, she can see guys coming out of that warehouse, piling into the SUVs and driving towards where she is on the tarmac. And Gutterman says, it turns out I don't need to go to this building. Thank you for your help. And turns to walk away towards where this car is going to pick him up, Lena. You notice a young woman being put in one of the cars. What are you going to do, Lena?
Well, I'll continue my thing and say those guys from there have got Legionella. And they're locked down. This whole area is locked down.
The one that's walking towards you flashes his GRU credentials and says, "State security, walk away."
I'd like to try and convince him that my waterboard trumps his.
Okay, you're going to roll without expertise on this one.
Okay.
Because I don't think the GRU take that view.
I've got a 4. Success.
I think it's stretching thinner and thinner. This is not going to cover the 40 minutes it's going to take them to get to the airport. Just so you know.
Okay.
Lena,
if that's where they're going.
We're going to go to 13. I need you to get that girl.
Yeah, I'm working on that.
Okay.
So you can delay them another couple of minutes, but at some point they're just going to drive away.
Well, can we do a quick meta conversation about thingy, right? Because I think that Lena is perfectly placed here to try and rescue Galena. She knows which car she's in. She knows where they may not be going to box 13 with Galena. We don't know, right? You keep eyes on Lena, on Galena, and you can save her or fooling her into the bargain. We race the conspiracy to where box 13 is, apparently taking Dr. Belasova with us, which I had planned on dropping her off at the safe house, but time has worked out this way.
Yeah, I've sort of got that.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to do something rather than just talk to him, is what I'm saying to you, Lena. Because all you're doing at the minute is buying, minute by minute of time.
I would just you've slowed them down. And if you're in the perfect position to steal a car or use your own car and just follow them, chase them right through the streets.
Yeah, that doesn't get a girl. That just follows them somewhere.
Yeah, but then didn't you make contact with the police before? The Finnish human trafficking thing?
Well, I could try and phone the Moscow police to try and stop these guys. Yeah, let's do that. Let's phone the old Moscow police.
Okay, well, look, I'm going to have them drive. I'm going to have them drive away. Yeah. So are you going to follow them?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So let's have you roll. Where's it gone? Stay with them. You don't have vehicles, so you won't be rolling with expertise, but you could include the stress dice.
Yeah, let's roll the stress dice.
Oh, will you look at that? On a 6, you succeed brilliantly. The GM will agree with you what extra benefit you get, but also mark intel. But it's very clear these guys are driving offensively, right? They are professionals. So you've got 3 SUVs. One of them has Gutterman in. It's the same one that has the girl in. Yeah? What extra benefit do you want?
I want to swipe them in the tail with my vehicle, just to slow them down so the police can stop them.
Okay. So the benefit is the police are going to go for your story. Your friend at Moscow police, fine. Eun-Jung, Vlad, and Jimmy. Now she sent them to Chelyabinsk. That isn't where box 13 is. It's at Krasnoyarsk, which is in, a different direction. So you head into Krasnoyarsk? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we still have to get it. They're stalling rather.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. And so I'm going to cut to you arriving at what used to be a scientific center, industrial center, it's a brownfield site redeveloped as a water park. And the slightly disturbing thing that comes to you as you climb out of this car is that it's an inside water park, but you can see all these great adverts of what and it's got natural beaches in there and a tide machine. So it's got a lot of sand, is I think what I'm saying to you. And she says, "Where's Galina? Where's Galina?"
Say, we've got the car. Our operative is following the car, and we've got the police to intercept right now.
And so Lena, the police, a police car goes whizzing past you on this Moscow ring road, and pulls up in front, flashing, indicating pull over, pull over. And two of them pull over, but the one with the girl and Gutterman in just pulls out into traffic and races away. What do you do?
I'd like to hit them with my car.
Okay, so let's have you roll to stay with them again. Again, no expertise.
Rolling with stress.
Oh, will you look
6
at that?
on the stress.
Oh, 6.
Yeah.
How do you take control of the fiction and tell me how you crack? Or was there something you would have done before that if you'd realized that you were that close to the cutting edge?
Well, I'll spend a point of intel.
Okay, so spend intel and keep your
And
stress,
gain intel.
and then gain intel and also gain stress back to 5. But yeah, on a success, yeah, you run into them. Describe how this works then, because the risk here is that they're going to crash.
I think they do crash, but the boot pops.
Okay. So they all take 1 stress in the crash. Do you just sit back and watch, or do you do something else?
No, I'm going to get out and grab this girl who was in the boot.
Fine. Let's come to that in a moment. Eun-Jung, Vlad, and Jimmy, and the doctor. She says, "Come with me. Come with me," and she takes
weird again meta question, because I'm trying to make sense of it. I wonder if because I ordered a super bad, I wonder that maybe I should be somewhere close to Lena as she crashes the car, so that we can engage them, and that's because I get the feeling my super bad is over there.
Oh no, I think the super bad is here. In a water park where there's magic water that we have to take care of. I think your super bad is we're about to walk into his face right now, dude.
Okay. Yep. Please frame away. I just wanted to suggest that maybe one of us should be with Lena in the scene, so that but yeah, let's go with it.
I mean, if in the spirit of not having all the party in one place and one person away, Jimmy could have hopped out and hotwired a motorbike and be speeding over towards Lena in traffic. I'd be fine with that.
You guys continue with this. I'll take this girl, and I'm happy with that.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Then, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to cut to the doctor having shown you down, and clearly the basements down here vastly predate, but they've been retrofitted for water purification, and as you can see that there's a kind of indicator on the wall of when the next cycle of water renewal is going to happen. And it's counting down until the next kind of water filtration cycle, which will take water out of the water park and put new water, fresh water back in.
We got to do this quick.
And that is when a figure steps out of the darkness, cloaked as in darkness previously. Our goth is back on site.
Eurovision.
The Eurovision goth vampire is on site. What do we do as it steps out of the shadows? And it has a briefcase. But it looks up to one side, and you can see that a small sample bottle has been inserted into the water purification system. Eun-Jung, what do you do?
I have medium for my loadout. So I
And
think
therefore,
and therefore I want to check one thing here. This equipment notes. Where is that at here? Then I think that's the point at which the SMG comes out, and I just start walking forward, and I'm sweeping the leg is what I'm trying to do. I want to put this thing like on the ground. I don't think I can kill it with this, but I think I can cause problems that maybe my friends can capitalize on.
okay, so you are rolling with expertise. You're with the bonus dice because you are deadly, the stress dice if you want it, and all 5 risk dice.
So
no one has ever rolled all these dice before. You need to know.
So that's technically that's if I roll everything, that's 9 dice, right?
That's 9 dice. That is 9 dice.
Well, then I'm absolutely rolling 9 dice. Oh, baby.
So the 6 that you get on your stress dice means stress goes up by 1. Mark intel. But you succeed brilliantly. And it doesn't come close to 6. So even though it is fast, it is dangerously fast. You surprised it by going low, and you kind of take one leg off at the knee. Yeah. It's hanging on by not a lot.
I scream, Jimmy, help me. Vlad, get that water.
Let's cut to Lena. Lena, they've spun off, the boot pops, and what are you're running towards the car, yeah?
Yep.
And Gutterman gets out of the car and raises a gun towards you. What do you do?
Can I see the girl?
As far as you know, she's in that boot.
That's popped.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I'll let's shoot him. You can never go wrong with shooting somebody. Let's is there a let me see what we've got.
Okay, while you're doing that, I just noticed
sure.
that that Vlad is declaring UV for a deterrent, and the vulnerability to be extreme deterrence, i.e., lots of UV. Okay, so do that by all means. What this means, I tell you, extreme deterrence. What this means is that you have to hit him with a UV light. In the sense of keep him in the beam to do harm to him, because already that leg is knitting back together. Yeah. Jimmy, what about you?
Well, as Eun-Jung, takes out this leg, I grab the equipment that we acquired earlier, knowing that we were facing Eurovision, and it is a customized ultraviolet lamp, torch, like a high beam flashlight.
Yeah.
And I'm I think involving myself in this melee with Eun-Jung and whatever, right? But it's like holding the torch, it's right up to him, and it hisses away and around.
Of course, because he has this cloak of shadows thing going in the background, and it's dark down here. Every time you move it through the shadows, it kind of looks like a lightsaber. Lena, what were you going to do?
I'm going to tase the fucker.
What, you're going to tase a Gutterman?
Yeah.
Okay, so roll with expertise for handguns. Stress dice if you want it. I will remind you again this time before you roll the dice that you could crack.
I'll spend a point of intel to take that down.
Fine. And you are rolling 1 because he could shoot at you.
Yeah.
2 because he is a named character. So you're rolling 2 risk dice and 3 of your own.
Okay, got it. Let's have a look.
Oh, you guys, you're killing me. Mark intel. Stress goes up by 1, so it's back at 5.
Okay, well, I'll spend intel to take that back down to 4.
Okay, but you succeed, and he's.
Yeah, well, I'd like to. So a 6 is even better, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's got it's intimate stun. So I like him to be really stunned. Drops his weapon, starts giving it the Michael Jackson sort of dance moves, and that's when I'm going to grab the girl and try and disappear into the crowds.
I think that you've taken him down, and the benefit is the girl is out and in your company. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say something in Finnish. Like, fuck you, Goodman.
And of course, you're at one side of a 6-lane highway on the ring road. So we'll come back to you in a moment. Let's cut to Eun-Jung. No, sorry, it was Jimmy, wasn't it? Jimmy has got his lightsaber out and he wants to try and use it.
Mm-hmm.
So Jimmy, you are rolling with expertise because it's either hand to hand or it's shooting somebody with ultraviolet.
I can kind of imagine this like rippling around the room as me and Eun-Jung like flick between. One of us gets smacked against the wall, the light pierces it off, that kind of thing,
So you're rolling with expertise, stress if you want it, and all 5 risk dice.
All 5 risk dice.
Oh, sorry, no, 4, because the first time UV comes into play, he loses a risk dice.
Nice. Okay. Oh, that's a 6 on the risk dice.
Oh well, you're going to take a consequence. And he's that's a fail. So you don't inflict any harm on him with your UV flashlight.
I look at the contacts list and wonder, can anyone tell me about weird shit that could possibly, in fact, the people who we knew this, Derry are telling me legends of vampires and like the light and things,
Do you want to declare another librarian contact?
Can I call it Derrier and just have it as flashbacks, or?
No, you can't really.
Okay. Then I will call it.
Mark a point of stress, declare this, and then that'll get you a reroll.
Professor Blake. There we go.
Okay.
Get me a reroll. Okay.
On all of them. So that's 3 of yours, 4 of theirs.
Okay. I really don't want to get a 6 on that fairly dice again. The odds are that I'm going to get a higher though. So. No, it's a 6 on the stress dice.
Oh,
yay.
So stress goes up by 1. That is a brilliant success. So you inflict 2 stress on him, and it's real stress. So what does it look like when the UV hits him?
I think he sort of like flinches away, and that skin burns, right? And the shadows like try and form around it, but they just boil away. And we're barely catching like glimpses of Eurovision, and it's just getting more and more burned as this fight goes on.
Okay, and as you say, no consequence for you. Let's go to Eun-Jung. Then I'll come back to Vlad.
Actually, let's do Vlad first because I want to see what Vlad's going to do, and
okay, Vlad,
I'll support her back up.
Dr. Belosova is kind of no, not again, and is just cowering. So you don't need to worry about her until you're all dead.
I need to ask to understand the situation. So he was carrying some kind of suitcase where we can assume that there are maybe more of this substance.
Yes.
Of the summoner. Some kind of 1 bottle of summoner is attached to this water changing system.
Yeah.
What's the state of the countdown? Are we down to seconds?
Oh, single figures, certainly. Who knows what the unit is, but it's been on 4 for quite some time now.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, look, it just went to 3.
Yeah. So
as soon as you look at it, it goes down. What are you going to do, Vlad?
Yeah, I guess I draw a handgun and I shoot the bottle, because if it will be crushed, then it will not, mix with the other water.
Okay. So this is do something else using handgun.
Yeah, because if it's down to 3, I don't suppose I can get there in time. So I just like.
Okay. 2 dice, stress dice if you want it. Jimmy, your stress is on 5, I'll remind you.
Of course, this is a very stressful situation. Let's go. Let's roll with the stress die. I don't know what it means. It's like as many sixes as I could.
If only 3 6s made any difference at all. The stress dice is the highest or equal to, so stress goes up by 1. But that is a brilliant success. So you shoot it out, and you know, Goth Boy is pissed. Eun-Jung, what do you do?
Question: because I rolled a 6 on a stress die, and
Mark
so
intel.
do I get in the intel, and then do I roll, and do I check for intel again with rolling a stress die, or
No,
not?
I'm afraid not. So because the stress dice is equal to or higher, stress automatically goes up, right?
Okay, but then
Because it was a 6, you gain intel. Yeah. But
Yeah.
because stress has already gone up for the action, you don't have to roll for stress.
Okay, so stress can only go. Okay, yeah.
Once per action. Eun-Jung.
What I am going to do is we're in a water park thing,
Yes.
right? Okay, as active and so on. And one of the things we know is that one of the things that are sometimes used for water purification are ultraviolet lights to kill off bacteria there. So what I want to do is spend my action to essentially use my intel and my data intrusion to get a weapon ready for Jimmy to use.
Well, I mean, Jimmy's doing okay with his UV flashlight, to be honest.
I mean, maybe there's like, you know, like a we're in
There
the
might
water
be a
filtration
bank
thing.
of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to get it set so that when Jimmy goes to do his thing, it'll be even more badass.
Okay, so Eun-Jung, roll digital intrusion
Okay.
to get control of the UV light sequence that is being used to verify the water.
Rolling the 3 in the line in the middle.
Will you
Oh,
look
that is
at
a
that?
6.
You have control of the UV lights in the basement. And of course, a lot of these water tubes are clear.
Mhm.
So, because they have to be illuminated with the UV lights, of course. So yeah, you have control. Do you want to use them to attack the vampire?
I want to use them to attack the vampire. And with my bonus from the 6, I want to coordinate that with Jimmy.
Okay, so I'm going to give you 2 more points of stress on him as he, and you know, the skin is boiling away, the hair is burning. Jimmy, no, let me go to Lena. Lena, you've got the girl out and there's traffic, you know. What do we see you doing?
I think we're actually, it's a 6-lane highway going over the Volga. So I would like to do my best, Conan the Barbarian, do you want to live forever? And jump into the Volga with this girl while he's doing his Michael Jackson.
So this sounds like you want to flee the scene. Yeah,
I
flee
do.
for your life.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So let's have you flee for your life. Do you think you have expertise that would be useful here?
Yeah, military fieldcraft, I think.
Yeah. And I would have counted authority to get her to do it with you.
Yeah, to get her to do the same as what I'm doing, basically.
So you're rolling with expertise.
Well, I'm only on 4, and I've still got 1 intel, so let's have the stress as well.
Okay. Stress goes up by 1.
Yeah, let's use that last point of intel and bring that back. But yeah, that's a success. 4. Success.
Okay. You get away clean unless Control chooses to spend heat to maintain the pursuit and forces you to flee for your life again. I think, given that I'm sitting on quite a bit of heat at this point, as I remember, yeah, I'm going to spend heat, and you jump off and land next to a speedboat. And then behind you, you can see 2 speedboats.
Okay, best mine hunter. Or spy hunter, actually, wasn't it? Yeah, let's. I'm gonna pull her into the speedboat, and let's do a sort of a bit of a David Beckham race down the Thames, but in Russia.
Okay, so I need you to flee for your life again. A
Okay.
6 will get you away clean.
Well, I've not actually got any expertise at driving a speedboat, so let's
Sadly
have a stress
not.
dice. Here we go. I've got a 5.
Stress goes up by 1, and on a 5, get away. Unless I choose to, no, I'm not going to spend any more heat. I think that's exciting enough. So how do we see you getting away?
Well, I think we could have you put it in a bit of a James Bond mode. So let's have a bit of the James Bond one down in Louisiana, where basically I'm going to leave the river in this speedboat and jump over a highway, basically into another part of the Volga, docks, and basically these guys pursue, and clearly they haven't got the speed or the skill. Not that I think I've got any skill either, but yeah, they bottom out, call it a chicken, smash into each other, save the day.
And away you go on the Volga. While as you go under bridges, police cars are coming screeching to a halt, people jumping out and looking down. Let's cut back to a basement below a water park. Jimmy, I think you're it.
Yeah. So I'm imagining that, it's like almost, yeah, it was about to rip my head off, and then Eun-Jung pressed the button, right, and it's thing. And I really want to stake it because we haven't staked a vampire in the entire game. Would I have to declare the vulnerability to?
If you are desperate to stake it, I will allow you to spend an intel to declare a stake as an appropriate vulnerability if you really want it.
I just think that that's the coolest way of ending this fight, is
Okay.
rather than like it burning apart slowly.
Okay.
It's just like, got you.
So you're rolling with expertise for up close and intimate. You're still only rolling 4 of its risk dice because the new arrival of more UV continues to deter it. You want the stress dice or not?
I got a 1 in 5 chance of cracking on that one though, forever. And I don't have any more intel to go on that. So I might be the only time that I don't.
Flashback to Heinrich saying, "Don't take any stupid risks, Jimmy."
Yeah. So true, isn't it? But I feel like Jimmy's got more people he wants to kill in the world, frankly. And
well, that would mean don't use the stress dice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm
dice.
Just wondering, does what Eun-Jung did, having an extra benefit on top of it already having the UV? Is that a...
No, because the UV only the first time you deploy it. So you deployed it, it saved you once. She's deployed it. I'm giving you that benefit now. So 4 of its risk dice.
Just 4 risk dice. That's a 6 on the failure as well as the normal dice.
Oh, this is so cool. Right, so on a 6, you stake it. What does that look like?
Yeah.
You stake it. What does it look like?
Oh, I mean, it springs back and it hisses, right? And I pull it out and I go like, oh, Dario was right about these. Oh, stab it right in.
Yeah.
And do I take a consequence because it tied?
You do. So go ahead and roll a d6 -1.
That's 2.
-1 is a 1. So 1 to 3, it's serious. Agree whether it's mortal, fill your stress track and, describe your death. It's bloody, you'll die without immediate medical treatment. It's painful and you cannot use your expertise until you get medical treatment.
Or I'm wearing my stab vest.
Or you declare a stab vest and protect yourself from a consequence.
Which I think is that when I stake it, right, the sunlight starts to burn through it entirely and then it explodes, right? And it just sends me like crashing backwards because we've never staked a vampire before.
You haven't.
Whoa!
Yeah.
And Bilosova is just looking at this chaos. Galina? And I think the phone rings. Is that true, Lena? What's the first thing you do once you're safe?
Yeah, I'm going to phone the crew and say, I hope you guys have done well.
And
we're covered in GRU and bits of vampire. And I look up and I say in Russian, but you have her granddaughter and she's safe.
Oh, thank God.
Indeed, I do.
And I'm not
Safe
going to.
house.
I'm not going to bother with a pack of debrief or anything else. I'm just going to say roll credits.
Yes.
But of course, after credits, we always have an epilogue, don't we? So let's start with Eun-Jung. What does the epilogue for Eun-Jung at the end of this look like?
I think it's Eun-Jung like in another part of Switzerland, and I come in and I don't kick the door in this time, but I go in and there's a conversation between me and my ward effectively. And, I take him back out to whatever vehicle I've come in. And I think that we leave, but I think then we realize that the perspective kind of falls back to the black van that is watching all of this.
Very good. So I'm going to clear missing, but keep him as a target just in case. What about Vlad? How do we see Vlad exit this series?
I think because we opened with this 7-star hotel, Burj. It was Burj Khalifa or Burj Arab? Burj Arab.
The Burj Al Arab. I can't say it, but yeah, that's the one.
Al Arab, yes. So we cut to Vlad this time as a client standing somewhere very, very high, watching the wonderful sun, drinking martini, and he's on the phone with this GRU, with his former GRU boss, and he's saying, so you've heard what happened, most definitely. Well, next time you should really trust me when I tell you a good intel, because you just lost one hell of a good opportunity.
We'll speak again, says Andropova. Lena, what about you?
I think we see a scene in Finland in the sort of deep snow. And I think I've got Gutterman on his knees with a gun to his head. And I'm saying, where is my husband? And, he's begging for his life. And I just keep saying, where is my husband? And just as he goes to tell me, you hear a sniper shot ring out and it takes Gutterman down.
Oh,
I'm left sort of in despair.
Yes. Very good. Very good. Like that one a lot. And finally, Jimmy.
So, we see an office in a suit down by the Thames, lots of suited people, briefcases, very serious, view over it, and a woman walks in a suit. It's of course Henry, acting as Henry, very in her office, MI6 handler, and sitting across from the table with someone with a USB stick that slides across. The camera pans up to Jimmy, who says, and then Henry says, and you say the sample was destroyed? And he says, yeah, all of them gone. But whatever's going on in AgroAlf, your man Bankson, it's all got to go, Henry. I want back in. We got a clean house.
And I'm going to give you a little taster for a follow-up series, I think, at this point, because there's in some of the stuff Philosopher passes on to you afterwards is a photograph of something that was the basis of the work they did to create Summoner. And it's a ritual written in cuneiform on a disc of ceramic. And Henry's looking at this and saying, that can't be right. And she's got a very old file from, late 40s. And it says something like, apparently MI6, we blew that up. Late 40s in Palestine, as it was then. And she's leafing through it and says, shit, the operation was run out of Istanbul. against a Brit with the work name Black Dragon. Oh my. And she turns it round to you. And at the bottom of the mission report, she says it was run by the guy who was running Istanbul station at the time. Only fucking Kim Philby. To our, less spy-informed viewers, one of the Cambridge spies who betrayed Britain to the Russians in the 40s and 50s. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to stop the recording. I'll pause the recording.